Here's what's coming up on today's show.
Social Security is not going to run out of money. To take it early for fear it's going to run out of money, I think is a big mistake.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Let's go to the mailbag here. And first question is from Steve in Tucson. Steve says, Mark, I've heard some people say that they haven't had to pay any taxes since they retired. I know they have income. So how in the world is that possible?
Well, thanks for the question, Steve. And I'll just mention, if you go to the website, which is savingwithsilverman.com, there's a radio tab, and you could submit a question, which is what Steve has done here. And the chances of you submitting a question, there's a high likelihood that you'll get your question answered here on the air. So I encourage anybody that wants to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of people. What is it? 50% of the people in this country don't even pay taxes. So if you make a certain amount of money, I forget what that number is this year, but if you make under that, you typically don't even have to really pay taxes. Some people, I don't even think, file. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
I think there's people that don't even file if they're under a certain threshold. But the last I heard, half the people in this country don't pay taxes. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of an unusual situation, I suppose. But I suppose it could be true.
They probably don't have a lot of income if they're not paying taxes. So
wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Next question here is from Samantha in Rita Ranch. And Samantha says, I want to take some money from my investments to pay cash for a new car. Basically, I have four options. I can withdraw from my IRA that's invested in mutual funds, a fixed annuity that's also an IRA, a non-retirement account invested in various stocks, or a Roth IRA invested in a money market fund. Mark, which is the best place to withdraw that money?
You know, that's a great question, and unfortunately, I don't think I can answer it based on what you said. I mean, depending on your age, if you're under 59 and a half, you're going to have to pay a 10% penalty if you touch the IRAs and the Roth. So those three, if you're under 59 and a half, then you're going to have to pay a 10% penalty plus ordinary income taxes on the two IRAs, not including the Roth. Your non-retirement account that's taxable, that's after-tax money, so that may be the best place to take it from. Depending on whether you have gains or losses, there could be capital gains, there could be capital losses, depending on what's in there. But to be perfectly honest with you, and as a fiduciary, without knowing more specifically about your situation, I really can't answer that question specifically. I would need to know more information. So if you want to reach out, we can definitely try to help you there and make a better educated decision based on more details.
Another thing I was thinking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, but interest rates are on the rise, but they're still relatively low. So you might want to,
look at a loan.
Talk about, financing it rather than taking money out of it.
Yeah, and some of the car manufacturers are offering specials. I know a lot of the credit unions here in town have some pretty aggressive deals as well. So that's also another option too.
Yeah.
Now, given where the market is this year, may not be the best time to sell investments because they're on the down.
Yeah.
So giving them a chance to appreciate might be a better option. But yeah, like I said, if you get us more details, we can certainly answer that question to better suit you.
We'll call that all-important number, 520-333-7601, or text, and have a further conversation with Mark Silverman about all of that kind of stuff, and he can give you a much more specific answer. Our last question today is from Jay in Marana. And Jay says he listens to this show a lot and really enjoys it, but he has a question that we have covered many, many times on the show because a lot of people are misinformed about this kind of thing. He says, I read an article saying that Social Security will be bankrupt in about 10 years. How much of a concern is this for you, Mark?
Well, Jay, thanks for being a valued listener. We do get this question. We've answered I don't know how many times, but the Social Security, it does show you on your statement that I forget the year that it's going to run out. The thing of it is the government can and will print money. They've been doing that, through this pandemic with all the stimulus. They were printing money. Now we're seeing the repercussions of all the inflation and everything from doing that. And they will continue to print money. So Social Security is not going to run out of money. to take it early for fear it's going to run out of money, I think is a big mistake, because depending on when you take it, if you take it early, you're getting less. Sometimes, depending on if you take it before full retirement age, or they call FRA, you have to pay some of it back if you make too much money. Social Security is taxable at certain amounts after you make certain amounts of money. And, the big benefit is it grows at 8% per year compounded up until age 70. So depending on if you have a normal life expectancy, a lot of times it makes sense to wait till 70 to take it if you have other sources of income, especially if you're working. But if you retire and you have other sources of income, that we can put an income plan together for you and show you where you can delay Social Security. Because as I tell people, 8% guarantee doesn't exist except in the government. Even the company, and I won't mention names, that run their ads on the radio saying that they're giving 10% on annuities, it is not 10%. It's a pie in the sky number used for a calculation. It's not a 10% number, so that's wrong and very misleading in my opinion. But anyways, getting back to this, as far as Social Security, we have an analysis that we run for clients when we go through the planning process to show them, based on your age, your specific amount that you'd be getting, which makes the most sense of how to take it and when to take it, etc., to maximize Social Security in your situation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for the question, Jay. And also, we appreciate questions from Samantha and Steve. A lot of other people may have questions that they'd like to ask and possibly have answered on this show. You can go to savingwithsilverman.com there and submit your question if you like. And Mark, I know a lot of people listening to the show today have been with us for a long time and certainly know how this works. But for the folks who may have joined us for the very first time today on the radio, how do they go about getting an appointment with you, and how is that going to go?
Sure. Well, like you said, Ron, whether this is the first time you've heard me or you've been listening for years, happy to help. Nothing happens until you reach out. There's no commitment, anything like that. Whether you call or text the number, Christine, who works with me, will reach out to you and get you on my calendar for a 15 to 20-minute phone call. That's all it is. I'll answer any questions that you have, talk about our process, how we work with clients, etc. If everybody's on the same page, I'll invite you to come in and determine if we're a good fit and come into the office, etc., and we can talk more about that. But the first step is just to reach out. Like I said, you're not committed to anything like that. I'll answer any questions. I try to help everybody. There's not a specific asset requirement or anything like that to call in, but I do try to help everybody. That doesn't mean that we can make you become a client if we're not a good fit, but I will try to help you and point you in the right direction if we're not a good fit, and answer any questions that you have. So nothing happens until you reach out, so look forward to hearing from you if there's something we can do to try to help you.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.